As the snake wraps around Yeon-myeong's arm, he is confused why it's calling itself the poison of extreme suffering. Which he proudly agrees and makes an assumption that Yeon-myeong managed to block the spread of the poison by sealing the vital point in an instant, which is impressive, but he won't hold for long. Poor Snakey makes an arrogant face telling Yeon-myeong how he will slowly melt his arm. That's when he realizes something changing, as the poison-devouring frenzy inside Yeon-myeong's body activates. The skull starts devouring its poison and the poor snake gets scared as he can believe that Yeon-myeong has the poison-absorbing aura, and what is his relationship with the Wanderer Saint? Yeon-myeong grabs onto the blabbering poor snake like a plushy toy. His new toy begs itself to stop absorbing his poisons. At the rate his body is absorbing the poison, he will be utterly destroyed. Moving on to he is making a poker face filled with anger, telling it why he should spare it. He makes a psychotic face towards the poor snake and taunts him by telling if it changed its mind because it's currently at an advantage. So Yeon-myeong aggressively starts playing with his new toy, absorbing tremendous amount of poison from the poor snake. Beggar Snake thinks that Yeon-myeong is serious and he might actually die at this rate. So he offers Yeon-myeong a deal, and hearing this our Chad gets flabbergasted as he stops absorbing the poison. Poor Snake tells him that he only wants to escape from this seal, and if he spares him, it will act as his guardian spirit. Hearing this, Yeon-myeong is confused, so it convinces him that it would be beneficial for him, and asks Yeon-myeong if his internal energy is increasing every moment with his poison. At a rate beyond the normal, according to Yeon-myeong, its poison is incomparable to the 10,000-year fire carpenter pill or the fire dragon's poison. It is so potent that by just absorbing it surpasses his previous internal energy. The poor snake is so desperate that it tells Yeon-myeong that if he becomes our Chad's guardian spirit, it can provide poison whenever he needs it, which is better than absorbing all of his poison now. Our Chad is heartless as he with a poker face tells the poor snake that he has no interest in keeping alive someone who was an enemy, so he can replenish the poison elsewhere. Hearing this, the poor snake starts crying and loses hope, telling Yeon-myeong that can't he just spare him once since he lived in a jar for hundreds of years. Hearing this reminds Yeon-myeong of his past life. Then he activates the ultimate cute soul killer face, telling him that as a guardian spirit he is bound to obey him. The soul killer face is so strong that Yeon-myeong gets flabbergasted and loses to it, so Yeon-myeong will believe it just this once. Hearing this, the Snakey asks him if he is accepting him. Yeon-myeong confirms it and tells Snakey that if he tries anything funny he will destroy him on the spot. Snakey, all nervous, promises that he won't do anything. Moving back to Yeon-myeong, he asks Snakey what he needs to do to become its guardian spirit, since he doesn't know anything about spirit arts. Snakey tells Yeon-myeong that he doesn't need to do anything as extreme amount of energy releases from its body, and a bead moves towards Yeon-myeong as it tells him that this is a spirit binding seal. Just by holding the bead his spirit will be bound with our Chad's soul, and that is how it will become our Chad's guardian spirit. Hearing the instructions, Yeon-myeong grabs onto the bead as it releases enormous amounts of energy. Outside the chambers, the guards are wondering why Yeon-myeong hasn't come out yet, so they start panicking, wondering if Yeon-myeong is in any trouble. One of the guard tells the other one that they need to go in and check, but guard number 2 tells him that they are not supposed to enter carelessly. Guard number 1 picks up the poison refining pill and puts it into its mouth, telling number 2 that they can worry about the punishment later, but they cannot let the future leaders suffer in a place like this. Number 2 closes his eyes and takes a deep breath, telling number 1 that he is as stubborn as always. He opens one of his eyes to see a very bright light excluding from the poison chambers. Number 1 thinks that something is happening inside and it's causing huge vibrations. As the light intensifies, number 1 and 2 starts panicking, calling for Yeon-myeong and if he is safe. Our Chad come out of the chambers as an aura is surrounding him. Back at the chambers, after Yeon-myeong made Snakey his guardian spirit, he got the guardian spirit aura and dragon scale. Unlike the usual guardian spirit aura, this one feels like a tangible outer layer, thanks to him absorbing the poison of our Snakey, which helped him fill all 12 meridians at the same time, so he considers himself lucky. Blood wanted to kill the snake a few minutes ago. He needs to suppress his aura and control the output, or else he will gain overwhelming attention from everyone. From Yeon-myeong's aura a small part arises and our Snakey manifests itself, telling our Chad that does he need to be concerned about the people below him, and the Wanderer Saint flaunted it openly. Since Snakey needs some training, Yeon-myeong gives it a hard flick, telling it to not reveal itself recklessly. The autonomous cute Snaky tells our Chad that unless he reveals it himself no one can see him, and with an aura as strong as our Chad there would be no one who would dare to attack him. Yeon-myeong thinks that still it's too eye-catching and he somewhat wants to live a ordinary life this time. Our smart Sneaky asks him that what he meant by this time? And he is speaking as if he died and came back to life. Yeon-myeong doesn't make a reaction and Snaky asks him if there really is a way to do that. Yeon-myeong looks at it and asks him what he means. Snaky tells Yeon-myeong that there is a reason why he is given such power, just like his previous master the Wanderer Saint, and those with power are followed by destiny. Hearing this, Yeon-myeong asks Snaky if he was exploited back then. Hearing this, Snaky starts sweating, telling out Chad that his previous master was even more inflexible than him. The previous trash master worked Snaky to the bone until his dying days, then he summoned an exorcist to seal him in a jar, because he deemed our cute snake too dangerous. Yeon-myeong figured out how all this was connected to the exorcist and he was a highly ranked spirit. As for Snaky, he is getting angry just thinking about him. Such a strong spirit is wanted by many exorcists, so the ancestor helps seal him. Yeon-myeong thinks if the ancestors is like his master, intimidating exorcists to get the job done. What struck our Chad's mind was that Snaky told him that there is a reason for his existence, and if it's as related to awakening memories of his past life. As he was in his thoughts wondering, a guard brings him back to reality and barges into the room, as Yeon-myeong shoves Snaky into his body as the guard tells him to come out immediately. He informs out Chad that in Sichuan near the main house there is an attack by the evil faction. Moving on to that place, we see Fatso in the entrance exam catching his breath. A huge groups of thugs are mocking them by telling where they are rushing off to. He is not aware why esteemed gentlemen from the Orthodox sect have come here, but this ugly red-haired trash tell them that they should have known that Sichuan is the territory of the Black Death Alliance. Old man tells Fatso that he will hold them off while he runs, but Fatso tells him that in his current condition it would be impossible. This red-haired dog is a palace lord and he is here with hundreds of members. In Fatso's current condition it will be hard to handle him. This smelly monkey tells him that since they have reached the capital of Sichuan they must be seeking help from the Tang clan, but their leader has isolated the Tang clan. Blood is daydreaming too much. He tells them that he will capture and offer them to the leader and he might be granted the ultimate martial art, so they should be prepared to lose a limb. That's when our Chad enters the scene. The guards tell Yeon-myeong that the two people are martial artists from the Justice faction, so he figures out that their opponent is from the evil faction. He orders the guard to escort them to the clan since they have come as guests. The Fatso is happy that martial artists from the Tang family are here to help, but there are only 4 of them, so even if their spirit is formidable it's impossible to face against hundreds. Yeon-myeong tells Fatso to step back since his partners is in no state to even stand. Wajin takes care of the injured man and Fatso asks him should they not be helping the ones up front. But Wajin smiles as Fatso blabbers about how there are over hundreds of martial artists. Yeon-myeong tells them that although he appreciates the help he is in no need of it. Moving on to the monkey, he is angry on Yeon-myeong for blocking his way. His guard tells him that he is probably the one who won the Tang clan's competition and returned as the family head. This red monkey mocks Yeon-myeong and asks him if he is going to face them, feeling sad for him. As for his minions, they are grinning. This dumb retard is so confident that he tells Yeon-myeong that he will uproot them once and for all. Hearing his nonsense, a needle flies towards him, poisoning him. In an instant this monkey falls to his death. Yeon-myeong thought that the nonsense spouted by trash was too annoying. Everyone present in the scene is shocked by what had happened as the leader lies dead on the ground. Yeon-myeong tells them they don't need to uproot them since he will be the one to do it. This is it for today. If you want to support me, please check out my second channel and don't forget to like, subscribe and drop a comment.